Hello, welcome. I'm just having a small glass of wine for this Saturday evening. Salute to all my friends out there. Red wine, Saturday night, Italian songs, and Linux. Is there anything better? Okay, a hot day with the girl. Okay, maybe that's better. Anyway, welcome to this Saturday stream. If you are new to the channel, it's glad to have you. Very happy to have you here. My name is Carmine, or as the UPS driver once said in Florida, package for Carmini. True story, back in the 90s. And speaking of Florida, I had an interesting conversation with a friend of mine who lives in Florida, in Orlando, about a Chromebook. And I'll get to that in a moment. So, another sip of wine to tune me up. Just digging my dad's tune. Sorry. Anyway, I have a friend in Florida I've known for many years, and he no longer has a computer. I called him last night. I haven't seen him for quite a few years. I was going to go last summer, but the pandemic. I said, I'll catch you next summer, which is this summer. He says to me, you know, you're not coming down because of the virus, and here we go again. But that's a different story. So we caught up. And by the way, congratulations to his son who he proposed and he just got engaged. So I won't mention the names, but congratulations to them down in Florida. Awesome. Very happy. All right. We had a conversation last night. He no longer has a computer. And I asked him what happened. Well, he had a Windows PC, as most people do, 1.3 billion Windows users. And he had a problem. I'm not sure if it was hardware or a virus. It may have been a virus. I can't remember. So he took it to a shop down there that sells and fixes, you know, computers. He got it fixed, or so he thought. Took it home. Still had a problem. And he says to me, that's it. I'm done. I'm fed up with this. I don't really need it. I believe he and his wife only have smartphones. Okay, and they have busy lives. They're both in the medical field. God bless them, especially now with what's going on. So they both have busy lives. They don't want to mess with Windows. They don't really need to spend $2,000 on a Mac, and they don't have time to mess with Linux. At least not time to download a Linux-based system and play with it, learn it. They just don't have time for that, which is completely understandable. So I said, look, well, what do you do on your phone? Or if you had a computer, what would you do? Well, emails. Okay. Check the news. And YouTube. He doesn't really do Facebook or the other social platforms. So emails, news, YouTube. And I'm like, oh, really? So I said, have you heard about a Chromebook? Let me explain it to him. And the point I'm getting at here is he has a busy life. So he wants something that's zero maintenance or virtually zero maintenance, maintenance free as much as possible. And I said, well, with a Chromebook, you open the lid, it turns on, you log in, that's it. That is the extent of your maintenance. Now, it will download the updates in the background. It will prompt you, would you like to reboot to install the updates? It won't force you to. It's not like Windows in the past where you were forced to do this and forced to do that. I said, that's it. If you know how to turn the damn thing on to log in, He has a Gmail account. He says, yeah, I have that. Well, that's it. So he says, oh, so it's a machine for dummies. Well, okay, yeah, it's for people like him and his wife who are highly educated, good people, love them dearly, but they're not computer people like us. They were not trained for that. They don't have time to learn something new, especially now with their busy lives and the pandemic and all that stuff. So, in a way, they're for dummies and for smart people at the same time who don't want to mess with learning something or fixing something. I cracked the joke, and they're for lazy people like me who just want to turn it on and go. And I still mess with, Linux-based systems. I go to Ubuntu Mate, Linux Mint, Ubuntu. I still test them. Okay? But I've self-trained myself over the years. I've gotten used to it. Somebody who has a busy life, he and his wife who are in the medical field, especially now, they don't have time to mess with things. Yeah, he could buy a computer. I can tell him how to download a Linux-based system. Hopefully it'll work. If not, you have to do this, go into terminal, tweak that. That's not for him and his wife. They don't have time for that. But if they want a low-maintenance system, emails, YouTube, check the news, Chromebooks are perfect. And I said, look, they start at $200. I would probably stay around the $300 range. You can go higher. And then he asked, well, what about the higher ones? Well, they have touch screens, 4K screens. He says, wouldn't it be better to have that? Well, that depends what you're looking for. If you're into touchy touch screens, then get a convertible Chromebook. A nice one, you're probably looking about $350, $400 or higher. But I don't think he needs that personally. But, yeah, if you want to get something nicer, fine. And I also said, look, if you buy one manufactured last year or 2021, 8 years of support from Google, at least 8 years. That's not bad for a $300 machine that's based off of Linux. Now, I don't think I told him it's based off of Linux. I didn't want to scare him. Oh, Linux, ooh, that's for geeks and for Linux enthusiasts. Not entirely true, but if he wasn't trained for it, it's not his fault. So I said, look, you're in Orlando, all right? Walk into the Best Buy when you have time, this weekend or whatever. Go in there, take a look at the Chromebooks, and see what you think. Call me if you get stuck. But I think a person like that, not a school teacher, not a student, does not work from home, not a content creator, a YouTube personality like myself, just wants to turn it on and go and nothing else, is the perfect candidate for a Chromebook. And that's one of the reasons why Chromebooks over the course of a couple years really more have exploded in popularity because they just work. They are affordable. They've proven themselves. Now, 10 years ago, would I have said all this? Probably not. Back then they were too new. I don't know much about them. I don't have one. It's hard for me to recommend something I know nothing about or never used. But 10 years later, Chromebook sales have kicked Mac OS's marketing hiney, double-digit gains. Yeah. I have complete faith in them because I've been using them now for a few years. And I use the Chromebook instead of my normal Windows laptop. Why? Because they're just so much faster and I don't have to reboot 6 dozen times to install all the updates. So, are they for dummies? Okay, fine. If you don't know much about computers, that's fine. But they're also for smart people like me who don't want to use Windows all the time and reboot to install the updates all the time, and the machines inherently become slower. Not necessarily true with a Chromebook. So if you are like my friends in Florida, maybe you've heard about Chromebooks, you don't want to deal with Windows no more, you don't need to spend $2,000 for a Mac, you're not going to spend $2,000 for a Linux machine, obviously, if you're not going to buy a Mac, a Chromebook might be, maybe, for you. And that is about as honest as I can get, not just for myself recommending a Chromebook, but from an honest conversation I had last night with a friend of mine who I've known since the 90s, He and his wife and his kid who just got engaged, God bless them all. We had an honest conversation, and I gave him a recommendation based on what he told me. Not what I wanted to tell him, but based on what he told me. Now, if he was, into YouTube and making videos and video editing and content, then the Chromebook is not for him. The Chromebooks are capable, but the software has not caught up yet. But he does none of that. Zero of the stuff that I do, he does not do that. So, yeah, if you fit that category, then a Chromebook may be for you. The machines are just outstanding. I haven't had a single virus, a single bug, a single hiccup. The speed of those things are completely insane, and right now they are the fastest computers on the market. And the best part of all, you don't have to spend $1,000 or $2,000 to get that kind of performance. So I'll drink to performance. Salute. All right, let me, oops, didn't mean to do that. Let me go in the chat here. All right, let's see. This was a last minute thing tonight, but that conversation was fresh in my mind, so I wanted to let it out there. Low spec Linux and Laugh is in the house. He says, for that Chromebook, sounds fine, but I still think they are junk. Okay, well, to each his own. For them, I think it's perfect. Timo's in the house. Well, for Tim, salute. This. Wait a minute. For Tim, this one's for you. I'll pretend to drink this big jug. Okay. Second shot of Pfizer, good. You got sick? Yeah, it is possible to get sick from the vaccinations, but that's normal for some. Your daughter has to use a Windows machine for school. Completely understandable. By the way, on a side note, for the people who are in the medical field, like my friends, get vaccinated. There was a doctor on this morning, very frustrated, tired, flustered, and there is an influx of COVID patients again, usually from the unvaccinated. They are tired. These people are tired. They are worn out. They don't deserve it. So take this pandemic seriously and get vaccinated, okay? And that's all I'm going to say about that. Mind Blast is in the house. That sounds like a game. Mind Blast? Cheers. I like that. Mind Blast. Chromebook is horrible? Well, not for me. Tim, she's going to Loyola. Now you got to work with it to keep it running right, and it is a low machine, a Lenovo. Okay. Lenovo machines are perfectly fine. Okay? As far as Windows on it, obviously run the security updates. Avoid the optional updates, Tim, and tell your daughter. I avoid the optional updates unless it's absolutely necessary. So do the mandatory updates. I would run like a CCleaner, the built-in antivirus. That's all I use for Windows, Tim, and it's perfectly fine when I use Windows. And I would run super anti-spyware. Okay, and that's probably all you're going to need. But the main thing for the updates, install the necessary ones. I would avoid the optional ones. That's my advice on that. 2014 Pentium laptop runs RetroArch way better than the Chromebook from last year. Okay, cool. I love my Chromebooks. Yeah. You can download Neverwhere Cloud, ready, and put it on an old computer. Yes. Yes, you can. When my older Chromebook expires, I may do that, but I don't have to now, so I won't. Boy, Lowspec, you really don't like Chromebooks. Okay, that's fair enough. Cheers to non-Chromebook users. I was just thinking about... Cheers, Tim. HSN had a special on an HP Chromebook today with printer for $400. Okay. Yeah, my friend asked me, can you print on a Chromebook? I said, yeah. I'm assuming he needs that for all his medical work. I don't do that personally on the Chromebook. I don't print that much nowadays. But in his field, records and all that. So Sedan Smith, yeah, HSN. I haven't seen on those shopping channels. I haven't seen too many Chromebooks. I watched the shop, or I watch the electronics portions of the shopping channels occasionally. I don't see too many Chromebooks, so it's nice that they had one on. That means Linux or Linux powered Chromebooks have made the mainstream, so that's cool. That's not a bad price with the printer. Yeah, 400 with the printer and the Chromebook. Cool. Yeah. Clear a lot of bloat on their machine, and yes, Lenovo's a great machine. Yes, I have a Lenovo convertible Chromebook, touchscreen, keyboard, lighted keyboard. I have a 10-year-old Lenovo with Windows, little slow, but it runs Linux fine. So they are good machines. Yes, yeah. Just install the necessary updates for her. Avoid the optional ones. That's what I do. You should be okay. You should be. So. Looks like the stream looks good. I guess my sound is okay. So again, welcome everybody here. If there's anybody new who want to say hello and has a question, please do ask. Love to meet somebody new when possible. If you would like to contribute to these live shows, please do in the comments below, or check out the show notes below, rather. Couple of links there for Patreon and PayPal. And thank you for all these supporters who help keep these streams going, especially during these crazy times, I love red wine. I should have got a little bit of 7-Up mixed drink, but anyway. Got my hair cut today. I feel like I just dropped 10 pounds from my hairdresser. It's great getting first-class service from a hairdresser at the house, and then topping off the haircut with the rum and coke. Here's to hairdressers. I'll have just a little bit more wine. Yes, I do know how you feel about Windows. I totally get it, Tim. Totally get it. Believe me, if I could completely dump Windows, I would, but I can't. Chromebooks aren't enough, but I know how you feel. Yep, I get it. Yeah, it was 10 years ago that Google announced the Chromebook, something called the Chromebook, which nobody knew nothing about, and it was somewhat scoffed at. If I remember news articles I was reading up, people kind of ignored it. They thought of it as like a netbook, if you remember netbooks. Of course, a lot has changed over the years, not just for Chromebooks, but in Linux. But I have to give Google credit. They did that right. And that's why the sales have jumped so much since last year. I love mine. It is because of the Chromebooks that I don't use my Windows machines. At this point, if I turn one on, there's probably 2 days worth of updates. So, yeah, I just use my Chromebook. Yeah, okay, spec, low spec. You completely dumped Windows back in 2012 and never looked back. I think that's awesome too. That is not the reality, though. The reality is Windows usage keeps growing, 1.3 billion and climbing. Except for Chromebooks, I don't think Linux is even on the map for these consumers. Even though there's people like myself for the last 10 years talking to people either like yourselves who maybe did not consider Linux or were too scared until you saw me, maybe. Talking to my friend who has a busy life, he can't download a Linux distro and install it. He doesn't have the time, completely understandable, but doesn't care for Windows. Chromebook is perfect. But over the course of 10 years, Linux has come a long way, not just in the quality of Linux-based systems that you can download if you have the time, but Chromebooks in helping push that movement. Because who's to know how many Chromebook users buying a Chromebook realize it's based off of Gen 2 Linux and maybe want to try a different Linux-based type of system. the possibilities are endless when you think about it. And I think that's the real excitement. You know, it's the quality of the Linux-based systems has gotten better. That in combination with the Chromebook, I think at least for someone like me who follows it is cool and exciting. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I think that's the exciting part, all things considered. You know, some failures over the years with Linux, some disappointments like the Ubuntu phone and Steam machine, stuff like that, but that's to be expected. So Tim, 100% Linux is 2014. Cool. Your daughter Tim is nothing but an Apple user. Well, Apple makes good stuff. They have good support. They work. Obviously, they work. If not, they would not sell that many at that price. So yeah, they work. All right, I'll stick on around a little bit longer. For those of you who are on my supporter list, I may send you guys, it's 9:39 p.m. It's not too late. If you guys want to have a little private chat, I'll send you a link as soon as I'm done here. We can catch up for the week if you want to. So let's do that. Again, thank you for all of your contributions to our community. I caught a bit of news nonsense news, I guess, on a flight somewhere. A passenger got unstable, to use an OS term. The passenger, this is true, but this is not a joke. The passenger got unruly. So the passenger got duct taped to his seat for the rest of the flight. I guess his seatbelt broke. I don't know. It is a crazy world, my friends. Be safe out there. Really. Be not just the virus thing, but be aware, be vigilant, be safe. It's crazy. Yeah. Anyway. Search that story. It's totally true. He gets taped to his seat. Yes, Ron is. Thank you, Ron, for that joke. That passenger must be running arch. Yes, very unstable. But a bump up. I knew someone would come along with the joke. Yes. There's a picture of the guy duct taped to his seat. Now the question is, how many passengers did it take to duct tape a guy? It's not the pilot or co-pilot. Their job is to fly the plane safely, and they're not budging. So, oh my God. I don't even want to go there, but cheers, Ron. How do you legislate stupidity? Perhaps the real pandemic is stupidity. Just a thought. Sedan says after putting cinnamon mint on your machine, you can't see going back to Windows. Cool. Yeah, cinnamon mint is fine. Yeah. Yeah, I use Windows maybe 20% of the time. I don't use it that much. Yeah. It took 1 to keep the pacifier in his mouth and 2 to tape him up. I don't know, Ron. I wasn't on the flight, but it's the first time I've ever read where a passenger had to be duct taped. Obviously, whatever the passenger did was uncool, to say the least, a danger to the passengers to the flight. I'm not sure what I would have done. If I felt what he was doing was a true danger to the flight, I probably would have given him a piece of my New York mind. I can't say it here. This is a family channel. But I probably would have given that to avoid a physical confrontation. No, use psychology to try and scare him that way. But yeah, it's sad that it's come to that. So Ron also does mint cinnamon. Cool, cool, very good. It is good stuff, yeah. All right, I'm going to give this a 2-minute warning. I'm going to wrap this up and then check your emails. I'll send you a link if you guys want a private chat for tonight. So, and cheers to all the flight attendants who can duct tape the passenger to the seat. Thank you for flying Duct Tape Airlines. After flying, please, thanks for choosing us because you'll always stick with us. Oh, man. I don't know what to say. Yeah. Next week, Tim? Okay. Okay, that's fine if you can't join tonight. Yeah, look, since last year, it's been tough trying to get all of us together. It's not normal. It's been a challenge. You know, luckily this year, the last stimulus check, I think I mentioned it, the last check I got will help cover the Comcast costs for the rest of this year to know about next year. So thank you, President Biden, for helping us out. We definitely need it. So you're still running 19, mid 19 sedan? If it hasn't expired, I guess you can, but why would you want to do that? Oh. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up. So for those of you who came in late, you can catch this in its entirety once I'm done with this. Thank you for stopping by for this Saturday night stream. And if you have any questions or comments, let me know. If you would like to sponsor a live chat, let me know, and we'll schedule one. You can pick a topic that's anything relevant. Doesn't have to be about Linux even. It could be about news and nonsense if you want. I don't care. It could be about wine. I'm all for it. I saw a good movie tonight with my son. It's called From the Vine. Yeah, check it out. From the Vine. It's made in Italy. Charming little rated G flick. Something different, family type of film. So check out From the Vine. And on that note, I'll catch you guys on the next one. So, arrivederci.